So we were discussing about the case study of verbal and non-verbal communication. Now we'll be talking about the case study of non-verbal communication in a cross-cultural business meeting. So this case study is about non-verbal communication, which is done in a cross-cultural business meeting. We will see what is the background of the case, what was the impact of the entire case, and what solution and key takeaways we have came up with, right? So when we talk about the role of non-verbal communication in a cross-cultural business meeting, let's see. A multinational corporation, Global Tech, is hosting a meeting between executives from its American headquarters and its Japanese subsidiary. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss the launch of a new product in the Asian market. Both teams are highly skilled, but they came from vastly different cultural backgrounds. As one is from American headquarters and the other is from Japanese subsidiary. So both the teams are highly skilled, but they came from vastly different cultural backgrounds. So there might be some issues or some barriers which may have came in between. So which influences their communication styles, particularly non-verbal communication. Let's see. Moving towards the background. So let's see what the scenario was there. So during the meeting, several instances of miscommunication occurred due to differences in non-verbal communication practices. Here are some key observations. Number one was eye contact. The American team maintains direct eye contact as a sign of confidence and honesty. Japanese executive, like eye contact was the first instance where American executive were maintaining the direct eye contact with the other people with full sign of confidence and honesty, where Japanese executive avoid prolonged eye contact. They avoid the prolonged eye contact with the team members, and it was considering it as a sign of respect and humility. Japanese thought that if the prolonged eye contact will be a sign of respect and humility to other members, right? So we have seen the difference between these two. Let's move further. Gestures. First was the eye contact. The next is the gestures. In American executive, they use a lot of hand gesture to emphasize point and show enthusiasm, where Japanese executives use minimal gestures, preferring more reserved and controlled body language. They were preferring the more controlled and body language as that was their style of verbal, non-verbal communication. But in American executive, they use a lot of gestures to emphasize points and show enthusiasm. Next was silence. So in American executives, what they did, they find prolonged silence uncomfortable and may perceive it as a lack of interest or agreement. What American executive says that if there will be a silence for more than a minute or for a prolonged duration, then it might be uncomfortable for them and they may perceive it as a lack of disinterest, like they are not interested, lack of interest, or there is a disinterest where the other party is not that much interested in the agreement or the business deal which they are going to do. So this is the interpretation of different gestures and different communication methods the way, people are using in the meetings. The other is Japanese executive. Japanese executive silence is used thoughtfully and is often a sign of deep thinking or respect for the speaker. What Japanese people interpret silence is that they think that it is a sign of deep thinking. Might be people thinking over the deal, or they might be thinking for other strategies, or might be they are giving a token of respect to the speaker. They are showing a respect to the speaker. So this was the interpretation for Japanese people. Moving to the next, personal space. American executive thinks comfortable with less personal space and may use touch such as handshakes or pats on the back to build rapport. What happened is American executive says when we are talking about the proxemics of the study of space between the people at business organization, the American executives thinks that there is a less personal space, less distance between the people sitting for their business deal. They use handshakes, firm handshakes, and touch or pats on the back so as to build good bond or to build a very good rapport between each other. So that was their study, that was their communication style. Right. When we talk about the Japanese executive, they prefer more personal space and minimum physical contact, findings such as gesture intrusive. What they are saying is that Japanese executive doesn't like closeness when they are talking between the uh, conversations. So they give more preference to personal space. So they want that there should be a good distance between the two people who are doing business deals or who are there for a meeting, and they use gestures to be used as a communication instead of touch. They don't believe in physical contact, right? Moving towards the next point, what is the impact of the meeting? So we'll be discussing the impact of the meeting. The first impact is misinterpretation of confidence and respect. Misinterpretation of confidence and respect. Misinterpretation of confidence and respect says the American executive misinterpret the Japanese terms lack of eye contact. So, as disinterest or evasiveness, while the Japanese team perceives the direct eye contact of the American as aggressive. What happened was there were different impacts of these people. The American thought that as the Japanese were not was not keeping a good eye contact for a very direct eye contact with the people in the meeting. So what American thought that these people are not very much interested for the business deal, or they might be thinking for some other options. But what Japanese are saying that too much of eye contact or a prolonged eye contact, they thought that it is showing their aggression in their body language. So they interpreted it as aggressive gesture, right? So we'll be coming to the next point, perceived enthusiasm. The American team animated gestures are seen as overly aggressive and unprofessional by the Japanese executives, while the Japanese team's reserved gesture was considered to be the American as a lack of enthusiasm and disinterest. Right. So these are the two basic things which we have came out in the case study, that there was eye contact for those two people interpret the different meanings, and yes, the physical presence or the physical personal space between the two are interpreted as the different meanings. So let's see what other impacts were there of their body language in their business meeting. Understanding agreement. The Americans mistake the Japanese silence as disagreement. Now, what happened was the the Americans thought that as the Japanese are silent, so they are not agreeing, they are not agreed for the business deal, or they are lacking the interest, or they are not properly engaged in the business meeting. So while the Japanese executives felt that the Americans are not giving them enough time to think and respond appropriately, as both are from different cultures, both have different meanings to their non-verbal communication. So there was misunderstanding between them. Americans thought they are not interested, while Japanese thought that they are not getting the enough time to take decision or to give a second thought or to respond, whatever they were thinking. But now coming to the next is building rapport. Building rapport here means the American executives attempt to build rapport through physical touch. But when we talk about the Japanese people, they were uncomfortable, leading to strained atmosphere. They think that there must be a good personal space between the communicator and the receiver. And but Americans says that good handshakes, a firm handshakes should be there, a firm bond should be there between the two business people, right? So all these were the in all these body language and facial expressions, or we can say gestures, were having these such impact on the meeting. Let's discuss what was the solution provided to them and what were the key takeaways, right? Moving towards the next slide. Now, how the confusions have been resolved, let's see. Recognizing the issue, the Global Tech decided to implement cross-cultural communication training for its employees. So the Global Tech company decided to provide their employees the cross-cultural training. This training focuses on understanding and respecting different non-verbal communication styles. Key components includes what different trainings, non-verbal communication styles were provided: cross-cultural awareness workshops, role-playing scenarios, guidelines for international meetings. So all these things were provided. Let's discuss one by one. As the impact was not very good on the project, so the company Global Tech decided to take some resolution for its employees. So they decided to start the training programs for non-verbal communication style. Number one was to provide cultural awareness workshops, teaching employees about different cultural norms and non-verbal cues, as different body language in different country interprets the different meanings, right? The next was the role-playing scenario. A role-playing scenario says allowing employees to practice and experience cross-cultural interactions in a very controlled environment. So what happened was the company allowed them to experience a role-play scenario where the employees were asked they were assigned a role of different profiles, and they were asked to work in an artificial working environment where